All right, let's talk about 2025, because that year, it wasn't just another small step for artificial intelligence. No, it was the year AI stopped being this far-off promise and became a powerful, world-altering reality.
And you know what? This simple line from a tech review at the end of the year, it just nails it. From breakthroughs that literally shattered industries to these massive economic shocks, 2025 was absolutely one for the history books.
For years, we've all seen the impressive demos, right? But 2025 was different. This was the year AI really left the lab. It started writing code for huge companies, managing incredibly complex projects, and yeah, fundamentally changing the global economy. The ripple effects were felt, well, everywhere.
So that's the big question, isn't it? How did we go from kind of cool chatbots to full-on autonomous agents in just 12 short months? Well, it all kicked off with an earthquake that shook Silicon Valley to its very foundations.
Okay, so our story begins in January with what some people started calling the Sputnik moment for AI. A Chinese lab, one that was relatively unknown at the time, called DeepSeek, released a model that just completely flipped the industry's entire philosophy on its head.
And this slide really captures that shift perfectly. See, for years, the mantra in Silicon Valley was just bigger is better. Just throw more money, more data, and more computing power at the problem. But DeepSeek's approach, it was totally different. Smarter is better.
And this is the number that sent an absolute shockwave through the market. Get this. While labs in the West were spending hundreds of millions, DeepSeek built a frontier model. We're talking a top-of-the-line AI on par with the best in the world for just over $5.5 million. It proved that cutting-edge AI didn't require a budget the size of a small country anymore.
So, the crucial point here is what happened next. The financial fallout was immediate. Investors basically panicked. They started asking if this whole bigger is better model, which depended on buying tons and tons of expensive NVIDIA chips, was even sustainable. And that one announcement from that one startup triggered the biggest single-day market cap loss in American history. That's real impact.
So after that efficiency earthquake in January, the next huge shift was all about what AI could actually do. We moved way beyond just asking it questions and getting answers. AI was about to get a job.
And the speed of all this was just staggering. I mean, look at this. In just 6 months, the entire industry went from powerful reasoning models to the world's first truly autonomous agent, and then to models that could work for a whole day by themselves. By July, this tech wasn't some niche tool for researchers. OpenAI had put it in the hands of hundreds of millions of people.
And this quote from an early tester, it just perfectly captures the massive leap we're talking about. This wasn't about asking an AI to write you a poem anymore. No, this was about handing off real, complex work and actually trusting that the AI could make meaningful progress all on its own.
So just to be super clear, an autonomous agent isn't just a fancy chatbot. It's a system that can plan for itself, use tools like a web browser or a code editor, and actually achieve complex goals over a long time, all without a human holding its hand every step of the way. This was the key technology of 2025.
Okay, so if the first half of the year was about new paradigms, the end of the year was just raw, unprecedented speed. Seriously, what happened in November might just go down as the single most consequential month in the history of AI. The sprint was just unbelievable. On November 18th, Google drops Gemini 3, and it smashes all the existing benchmarks. Just 6 days later, Anthropic fires right back with a model that was way better at coding and dramatically cheaper. Then, 2 weeks after that, OpenAI launches a model designed for serious professional work, and Google immediately follows up with another version. It was an absolute frenzy of innovation. You know, the feeling at the time was just undeniable. The pace of advancement was so relentless, it really felt like a fundamental change in how quickly intelligence itself could evolve. We saw more progress in those 25 days than we had in entire years before.
Now, all of this incredible technological progress, it didn't happen in a vacuum. Of course not. It had massive, tangible consequences for the market, for global supply chains, and yeah, for people's jobs.
First, let's just follow the money. In 2025, nearly half of all venture capital funding on the entire planet flowed directly into AI. We're talking about over $200 billion. That is an astonishing amount of money focused on just one single sector.
Which naturally led to the big question that was just hanging over the entire year.
Was this some kind of healthy boom? Or were we all watching a dangerous bubble inflate right in front of us? A lot of the investment was kind of circular. AI companies paying other AI companies for services. It raised some really serious questions about how sustainable it all was.
This boom also had a very real physical cost. AI's insane appetite for computing power created what people started calling a global memory crisis. The price for a standard kit of RAM, the kind you'd put in your own PC, it more than quadrupled. And why? Well, it's because the manufacturers shifted all their production to make specialized memory for AI data centers, leaving regular folks like us to foot the bill. And of course, the impact on jobs. It was profound and it was immediate. Over 55,000 layoffs in the US were directly blamed on AI. At the same time, you had companies like Microsoft, where AI was writing almost a third of their code. Sure, new AI jobs were created, but they weren't one-for-one replacements. A whopping 77% required a master's degree, which created this huge skills gap. For everyone else, the message was loud and clear. About 120 million workers around the world were going to need to learn new skills just to keep up.
So, after a year of whiplash-inducing change, what are the big takeaways? What did we actually learn from the year AI got real?
Well, one of the clearest lessons was this massive divide in how to actually govern this technology. In the United States, the push was for deregulation, this idea of being free to innovate. Meanwhile, over in the European Union, they put their Comprehensive AI Act into effect, which put a huge emphasis on safety and ethics. We're talking two completely different philosophies for the future of AI. We also learned there wasn't going to be just one winner in the AI race. Instead, the whole landscape got really specialized. If you wanted the best AI for coding, you used Anthropic's Claude. For what's called multimodal reasoning, that means an AI that gets text, images, and video, Google's Gemini was the king. And for cheap, powerful, open-source models, you turn to DeepSeek.
So to wrap it all up, these are really the 5 crucial lessons from 2025. 1. Efficiency now beats just brute force. 2. Agents are not sci-fi anymore. They're real tools. 3. Open source is finally playing in the big leagues. 4. AI's hunger for hardware is literally breaking global supply chains. And maybe most important of all, 5. The speed of progress itself is accelerating to a level we have just never seen before.
And that leaves us with a really provocative thought for the future. This technology, it's not theoretical anymore. The competitive advantages are being locked in right now. So the question for every single person, every company, and every country going into 2026 is no longer if this change is coming, but how they're going to respond. Will it be adaptation, or will they be left behind?
Ask Cypher AI. Unlock intelligence responsibly.